Hey, what's going on, guys and gals? Hey, this video is going to be about routing, okay? I'm going to try and simplify it the best I can. The video is going to be a little long. I'll do my best to keep it as short as possible. So for my input signals, I'm going to be using a song that I've got running through Reaper. And let's go ahead and jump into X32 edit. Okay, guys, so as you can see, I've got signal coming in here. Now, the first thing I want to show you is over here under your recorder. I am using X32 Edit, the latest version on a laptop PC. What's my playback? Well, since I've got the live card, it's not going to be the SD live card, because if I click that, as you can see, I'm losing all the signal here, except for my microphone over here on the right, okay? So you've got to click that playback for the USB interface, all right? So here we are in the basic routing, okay? Now, as you see, I have no signal coming in now except for my AT Pro 8, which is probably about 3 foot away from me. It's a dynamic headset microphone. And then here I've got AKG P120, which is probably about 12 inches away from me. It's a condenser microphone, okay? So as you can see, we have no signal coming through these other channels, and the reason being is this, and I'm going to explain it to you. And this is how I learned it, okay? And a big shout out to the X32 rack user community up on Facebook. These guys really help me out when it comes to the user in and user out, okay? So the first thing we're on is inputs. This is our source. We can pull from the local, the AES50A, the B, the card, and the user in. That's all we can pull from, okay? Since I want to bring in some audio from my computer, it runs through the card. So if I click these over here now, these are my first 16 inputs. They're coming from the card. And as you can see now, we have that coming back up, okay? Now, the local. What is the local? The local is whatever you're using for front of house. For me, it's my X32 rack. If this was a full-size desk, then all the local would look like this, okay? Because that's what it is. It's local to that desk. Now, since I'm using an S16, my local is in right here, okay? Why is it the 1 and 8, 9 and 16, 1 and 8, and 9 and 16? Because the rack only has 16 inputs. The S16 only has 16 inputs. Now, if you'll look at the signal right over here, okay, right here, that's on channel 17. That corresponds to 1 through 8 and 9 through 16. People will do this often, and thinking that 17 through 24 and 25 through 32, that's incorrect. Look down here, okay, AKG P120, I've lost my signal now. So we go back into routing. We put these right back, and you'll see the signal comes right back up, okay? So let's say that I wanted to run two S16s, one stage left, one stage right, and I wanted to use both AES 50 ports. Then my first one would go here, 1 through 8, 9 through 16. And my second one would go here, 1 through 8, 9 through 16. This would be my A port. This would be my B port. Okay? And that's how you would set that up. Now, the only thing that I cannot tell you, but logically it makes sense to me, is if I was going to come out of the rack and go into the first S16, into the A port, and then come out of the B port and go into a second S16, I would run into the A port, and I think that that's the way it would look. It's either going to look like this, guys, or it's going to look like that. Since I don't have two S16s, I can't verify it, okay? But it's real simple, okay? All you got to do is 2 clicks, okay, to see which one works for that. Now, let's say that I was hooking up a S32 from my rack. My rack is front of house. then since it has 32 inputs, that's what it would look like. If I ran it on the B port, it would look like this. Okay? Okay, guys, the AES50, the source. This is your output. So this is, by default, the way it should look. Now, the alternate, this is your P16. Okay? As you can see, it goes all the way over to user outs and user ins. So this part is customizable. Okay? The inputs, as you can see, there is no user out, and it would not be a user out because you're looking for inputs. So I'm going to put this back where it was here, and then I'm going to take this so we can get some signal back. On the card, the source, the outputs, you can output 1 through 8, the local, 9 through 16. If you're running the rack and the S16, it should always mirror what you're running. Okay? Again, if you're running a desk, it would look like this. Okay? But we want it to look like this for now. And again, you have the card, the outs, the alternate, auxes, aux in, user out, and user in. XLR 1 through 8, or 1 through 4, 5 through 8, that's fine. These are your mix buses. This is what this represents, your mix bus. And I've got it set up a little bit different here because I want to show you something on the P16s. Okay, the alternate. Now the output delays, this is for balconies, foyers. If you're trying to sync up your speaker systems, okay, and that's what this is for, your output 1. If you notice, you got 16 of them. These are for your XLR outs. Auxiliary outs, okay. When you see the I, that stands for inserts right there. So if you're going to leave it here, whatever you plug into auxiliary 1 in, then auxiliary 1 out is just a loop. All it is a loop. Okay, input 1, output 1, input 2, output 2. If you want to sit there and run a set of speakers down to a cry room or something of that nature, you can sit here and do it simply like this. Okay, your left and right. Then now your auxiliary outputs 1 and 2 is going to carry whatever you've got coming out of front of house. Okay, that's what that is. Now the alternate. Okay. As you can see, I've turned all these channels off, and I've turned them off for a reason. Now, if you see the symbol right here, it says pre-EQ. That's what that means. That's if it was a map, that would be the legend. Okay. Now, if you right mouse click this in the X32 edit program, you'll see you have a bunch of options you can do here. Okay. And that's going to bring us to a different subject. So let's go ahead and look at our meters now. As you can see, the P16 channel 1, we are getting input. What are we getting input from? Okay, we're getting input from mix bus number 2. Okay, as you can see, it says drums P16. So let's go down here to our bus and our matrix, and there's our drums P16. Okay, I can pull this down just a little bit. What's on this? If we come over here and look and we go up to the channels, as you can see, I've got 9 channels going into that one input. So even though the P16 regulates you to 16 channels, think of it like this. You have 16 inputs. Okay? So let's go back up here to the routing. And here is your source. You've got the main left and right, mix buses, matrix, direct out channels, direct out auxiliaries, direct out FX, and your monitor. If you notice, there is no user in and user out that you can tap into here. Okay? So, looking at that legend, okay, we're on this bus mix, and people ask this all the time, and they say, well, look, man, I mute it, but it's still coming through. Okay? So if we look at our meters, right there it is. It doesn't matter if I mute this or unmute it, that signal's still running through that P16. Okay? Go back up to routing. Put this on here. Right mouse click it. Okay? Pre-EQ plus mute. If you select this, you can see how it changed now. It's totally different. Okay, so let's bring up our meters. As you can see, I've got no signal now coming into channel 1. When I unmute it, I do. That is the difference between pre-mute and post-mute. Pre-fader, post-fader. Okay? That's what the difference is, guys. One is before it happens, and one is after it happens. It's the same for both, whether it's your mute or whether it's your faders, whether it's your EQ. Okay? So let's go up here and look at the routing, and you'll see you have all these options. You can go after. Post means after. Let's go over here and let's say we want to get into the user in and the user out. Now, I got to be honest, guys, this is where the community really stepped up, and they just, they kept helping me until finally the light bulb went off. Okay? So this is the scenario. We've got these channels in here, but let's say that I want this AT Pro 70 to actually be a microphone. Okay? As you can see, it's coming in now on card 1. And it's coming in on card 1 because that's what we told it to do. Okay, if we look at our inputs, there's our card 1. But let's say that I want to keep all of these on here, but I want this AT Pro 70 to truly come into channel 1. Now, we have the card, the A, that is the A port. This is all of the auxiliaries. This is the FX. This is the buses. As you can see, there is no channel 1 for me to come into. So this is what you do. Okay? Inputs. I'm going to put these back like they were. As you can see, all these meters are going to stop down here now. Okay? The only thing I have coming in now is the 2 microphones. So we're going to come up to routing and our source. What do we want our channel input to be? The first thing we want to do is say we want to use these as user ends. Okay? So once we've said, okay, we want our input source to come from the user in option, we're going to go to user in. Now, here is our input source. We have the local, again, AES50 port A, port B, the card, and the aux ends. We want to come up here to the card, okay, inputs 1 through 8, 1 through 8. Remember, we want to keep number 1 local. So we're going to come down here and just click from channel inputs. Watch these meters start coming up over here. Okay, you see these meters? Watch them start coming up as I do this. Okay, so now we've just set that card source. Now, inputs 9 through 16. We want those to be from the card as well. Now, let's go back up to channel 1. We've got this one spot. We want this to actually come in from input number 1 on the back of the rack. Okay, so that's going to be my local. As you can see, everything else here is card. Okay, so if I click this here now, local input number 1. So now I've got the AT Pro 8, which is my dynamic headset. It's now coming in. You can see the signal's a lot lower over here because I'm further away from it. And that is how you do your patching. Okay? You have to come to your inputs, whatever input you want to change. Okay? You've got these 4 groups here. And then you come over and you select the user in for whatever you want to do. Now, I can do the same thing. I can come over here and say, okay, user in. I just want to work with 9 through 16. So when you click over here now, 9 through 16, you'll see we have no channels over here. Okay? Remember, we wanted our first input right here, the Pro 8. We wanted the first input to be the local, and that's where it is right there, local in 1. Okay? So that's the strategy of this. This is what made the light bulb go off for me. The first thing you have to do is select your source. Okay? What channel do you want to manipulate? What block of 8 do you want to manipulate? And then you would move them over here to the user in. Okay? Now, when you come to the user end, you've got these options. You've got the local, again, AES50A, AES50B, the card and the aux in. That's it. Okay? So you simply bring up those blocks and you manipulate those however you want to. Okay? Now, just like with the card here, if I wanted to say, okay, I just need to use the first inputs 1 through 8, everything else can stay the same. So this would come back over here, back through the 9 through 16, and you'll see they disappeared down here now. Look down here at the bottom. See the signals coming up? Watch them disappear. Okay? And at this point, you simply come up here and you take channels 9 through 16, and you would come over to the card 9 through 16. Keep it on the same line level, guys. Okay? And there's your signals. They come right back into view. All right? I hope this has helped. If you have any questions, by all means, put them up there. I'll do my best to answer them. Okay? Take care. God bless. And we are out of here.